Okay, picture this. You walk into a car showroom, you've been saving for this, you're mentally prepared. You know the on-road price is around 15 lakh rupees. You've done your homework. And then the sales guy sits you down, factors in a small down payment, pulls out a calculator and goes, Sir, just 28,500 rupees a month, 5-year loan, zero tension. And something in your brain just relaxes. 28,500 rupees doesn't sound like 15 lakh rupees. It sounds like Tuesday. It sounds like manageable. And right there, in that exact moment, you make one of the worst financial decisions of your middle class life. I've seen this happen to engineers, doctors, startup founders, people who are genuinely smart, people who can calculate compound interest in their sleep. And yet, the moment a showroom plays the EMI game with them, their financial brain just switches off. Today, we're switching it back on. I am Rohan, and I spend way too much time thinking about how Indians borrow money to buy things that lose value while they're sleeping. If you're someone who's been Googling which bank gives the best car loan before first asking whether you should be taking a car loan at all, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if it helps you out. Today, we are breaking down the 3 ways you can get a car in India: buying outright, taking a traditional loan, or leasing. And I'm going to show you the actual maths behind each one. We are also going to talk about the psychology that makes us make terrible choices in showrooms and what the smartest move actually looks like in 2026. Let's go. First, let's set the scene. Because the car loan market in India right now, it's enormous and it's only getting bigger. According to Modern Intelligence's latest data, the Indian car loan market is currently valued at around 2.5 lakh crore rupees, or roughly 30 billion US dollars in 2026, and it's projected to hit 43 billion US dollars by 2031. That's a 7.4% growth every single year. Banks and NBFCs are hungry for your car loan business, which means they are making it very, very easy for you to say yes. Here's what most people don't realize. The RBI cut the repo rate multiple times in 2025, a total of 125 basis points, bringing it down from 6.5% all the way to 5.25%. That rate has remained at 5.25% through the first quarter of 2026, and banks passed on a chunk of those savings. As of April 2026, you can still get car loan interest rates starting from as low as 7.40% from public sector banks like Union Bank of India. SBI's rates are currently in the 8.75 to 8.90% range. Private banks like Axis and ICICI are higher, starting around 8.50 to 8.95%. And get this, if you have a CIBIL score above 750, top PSU banks can still offer rates in the low 7.4% range. Now, you'd think this is great news for consumers, right? Lower interest rates, happy days. And look, it is useful information, but here's where I want to challenge you. A lower interest rate on a bad financial decision is still a bad financial decision. Cheaper bet is not good debt. And the fact that banks are racing to offer you easy financing should make you more careful, not less. Okay, this is where it gets really interesting and honestly a bit painful. Let's take a real example. You're buying a Hyundai Creta, one of the most popular cars in India right now. The on-road price in a metro like Mumbai or Bangalore? Let's say 18 lakh rupees for a mid-variant with insurance and registration included. You put down 3 lakh rupees as down payment. You take a loan of 15 lakh rupees at 9% for 5 years. Your EMI, approximately 31,100 rupees per month. Over 5 years, you will pay roughly 18.66 lakh rupees back to the bank. That's 3.66 lakh rupees in pure interest gone. Not invested, not saved, gone. So your total cost of ownership just for the financing, 18 lakh rupees on-road price plus 3.66 lakh rupees interest equals 21.66 lakh rupees. And now we add depreciation. Cars in India lose 20 to 30% of their value in the first year alone. I'm not making this up. This is per Tata AIG's own published depreciation data and IRDAI standardized rates. That 18 lakh rupees Creta, after just 12 months of driving, its resale market value has dropped to somewhere between 13 lakh rupees to 14.5 lakh rupees. By year 5, you're looking at roughly 8 to 9 lakh rupees in the used car market if you've maintained it well and it's a popular model with good resale. So, let's do the full math. You paid 21.66 lakh rupees, price plus interest. Your car is now worth 8.5 lakh rupees. Your real cost of owning this car for 5 years? 13.16 lakh rupees. That is what driving a mid-segment car actually costs you, even before petrol, insurance renewals, maintenance and tires. That is a lot of money to park in a depreciating asset. Now, I'm not saying don't buy a car. A car solves real problems. I'm saying most people have no idea what car ownership actually costs them. The showroom never shows you this number. The bank's EMI calculator definitely doesn't, and that's exactly how they want it.
Here's the thing about EMIs that nobody talks about enough. They're not just a financial instrument, they're a psychological trick. And I say that with full respect for the engineers who designed them because they work incredibly well. When you see 18 lakh rupees written on a price tag, your brain registers it as a large, scary number. But 31,100 rupees a month, that feels like a subscription. It feels like Spotify but for a car. Your brain categorizes it as a monthly expense, just like your electricity bill. This is what behavioral economists call payment decoupling. When the act of buying is separated from the act of paying, people consistently overestimate the value they're getting and underestimate the total cost. And the industry knows this. That's why the sales guy never leads with the total price. He leads with the EMI. Now you might be thinking, Rohan, but I actually need a loan. I don't have 18 lakh rupees sitting in my bank. Fair, completely fair. But here's what I want you to do before you walk into any showroom. Ask yourself 3 questions. 1. What percentage of my monthly take-home is this EMI? If your net monthly income is 80,000 rupees and your car EMI is 31,100 rupees, that's almost 39% of your income logged into one depreciating asset. Most financial advisors will tell you your total EMI burden should not exceed 35 to 40% of income. And that's all EMIs combined: home loan, personal loan, everything. 2. What is the opportunity cost? If instead of buying an 18 lakh rupees car, you put that 3 lakh rupees down payment plus 15,000 rupees a month into a mutual fund SIP, the other 16,100 rupees going toward a used car or transport, what would that corpus look like in 5 years? At a conservative 12% CAGR, you're looking at over 17.5 lakh rupees in investments. That's real wealth you're building versus a car that's going down in value. 3. Am I buying this car for utility or for identity? Be honest with yourself. There is a huge difference between I need reliable transport to commute 40 kilometers a day and I want to pull up to office in something that makes an impression. Both are human. Neither is shameful, but only one should drive your financial decision. Okay, so now let's talk about the third option that most Indians don't even know exists: leasing a car. Here's the thing. In India, personal car leasing is still in its early stages compared to the US or Europe, but it's growing. Companies like Quick Lease, which is Mahindra Finance's leasing platform, Oryx, and some OEM-linked finance arms offer operational lease structures mainly targeted at salaried employees through their employers. How does a lease work? You don't own the car. You pay a monthly lease rental, which is essentially a usage fee for a fixed period, typically 3 or 4 years. At the end, you return the car. Some schemes offer a buyout option. The real advantage of leasing for salaried professionals is tax efficiency. If your employer structures your CTC to include a car lease component, the lease rental paid by your company can be deducted as a business expense, meaning you pay for a car partly from your pre-tax salary. This can result in meaningful savings depending on your tax bracket. But, and this is a big but, leasing has serious limitations in India right now. 1. Availability is still largely B2B or employer-linked. Getting a personal lease directly as an individual is much harder than walking into a bank and asking for a car loan. 2. You don't build any equity. With a loan, at least at the end of 5 years, you own something even if it's depreciated. With a lease, you own nothing. You've paid 20 lakh rupees plus in rental over 4 years and you're handing the keys back. 3. Mileage limits. Most leases in India cap you at 15,000 to 20,000 kilometers a year. If you drive more, you pay per extra kilometer. For someone commuting in Indian conditions, that cap can fill up fast. So leasing can make sense if you're in a high-tax bracket, your employer offers a structured lease plan, you like upgrading your car every 3 to 4 years, and you absolutely do not want the headache of depreciation or resale. For most regular buyers, it's not the most accessible option yet. Alright, so here's what I actually recommend, and I'm going to give it to you in a framework that you can use regardless of your income level. Step 1. Fix the car budget before you enter the showroom. A simple rule: the on-road price of your car should not exceed 50% of your gross annual income. Unless cars are your absolute passion and you're actively choosing to sacrifice other financial goals for one, this rule saves you. If you earn 12 lakh rupees a year, your car budget is 6 lakh rupees, period. Go look at a good used hatchback. I promise you, it will get you from A to B just as effectively as a 15 lakh rupees SUV. If you want 25 lakh rupees, then sure, a 12 to 13 lakh rupees car makes sense, but you should ideally still not be financing more than 60 to 70% of it. Step 2. Maximize your down payment. The more you put down upfront, the less you pay in interest. This sounds obvious, but most people minimize their down payment because, again, the EMI game. Why put 5 lakh rupees down when I can put 2 lakh rupees and keep 3 lakh rupees liquid? Here's the maths. On a 15 lakh rupees loan at 9% for 5 years, you pay 3.66 lakh rupees in interest. On 12 lakh rupees loan, because you put 3 lakh rupees more down, at the same rate, you pay 2.93 lakh rupees. That's 73,000 rupees saved just by paying more upfront. Plus, you're paying a lower EMI. Every rupee you put down is a rupee that earns you guaranteed 9% savings, better than most FDs right now. Step 3. Choose your lender intelligently. As of April 2026, PSU banks are significantly cheaper than private banks for car loans. Union Bank at 7.40%, PNB and UCO Bank close to 7.5% versus ICICI or Axis at 8.50 to 8.95%. Here's what most people don't realize. A 2% difference in interest rate on a 12 lakh rupee loan over 5 years is about 75 to 80,000 rupees. That's real money. That's a trip to Europe or 8 months of SIP contributions. Don't be lazy about comparing lenders. Also, check current bank promotions. Central Bank of India, for example, was offering full processing fee waivers till March 31, 2026. Always confirm the latest offers when you apply. Processing fees of 1 to 2% on a 12 lakh rupee loan is 12,000 to 24,000 rupees you can potentially save just by asking. Step 4. Don't stretch the tenure to reduce EMI. This is the sneakiest trap. Your bank will offer you a 7-year loan. Monthly EMI looks beautiful, but here's what happens. You pay interest for 7 years on a car that might be worth almost nothing by year 6. And for much of that period, you owe more on the loan than the car is worth. That's called being underwater on your loan. If you need to sell, you can't even clear the outstanding principal from the resale value. Stick to maximum 5 years, ideally 3 to 4 years if your income allows. Step 5. Think seriously about a used car. I know this is where some of you will push back, but hear me out. A 2-year-old Maruti Baleno or Hyundai i20 with 20,000 kilometers on it, you can get it for 6.5 to 8 lakh rupees. The major first-year depreciation has already happened. The car is still under the original manufacturer's warranty in most cases. The running costs are identical to a new car. And here's the kicker. Used car loan rates have come down too. You can get financing at 10 to 11% for a used car. Yes, it's higher than a new car loan rate, but the absolute loan amount is so much lower that your total interest payout can actually be less. Do the maths. 7 lakh used car at 10.5% for 4 years is around 18,000 rupees EMI, total interest of about 1.6 lakh rupees. Compare that to 15 lakh new car at 8.5% for 5 years is 30,800 rupees EMI, total interest of 3.5 lakh rupees. Even accounting for slightly higher maintenance on the used car, you're coming out ahead. Look, I want to end on something that's not about numbers, because here's what I've realized after years of watching people make financial decisions. The math is the easy part. The hard part is this. In India, a car is deeply emotional. It's tied to arrival, to status, to what we owe our family. When you get your first job and your relatives ask, "To gaadi kab le rahe ho?" That question is not really about a car. It's about signaling that you've made it. And I understand that. I genuinely do.
But here's the psychological shift I want you to make. The most impressive thing is not the car you drive today. It's the financial position you're in at 40. The person who buys a 7 lakh rupee used car keeps their EMI at 18,000 rupees and consistently invests the difference. By the time they're 40, they've built a portfolio that gives them choices. Choices about work, about lifestyle, about risk.
The person who stretched for the 18 lakh rupees car to impress people at work, at 40, they're still living paycheck to paycheck, just with a newer version of the same car. This is where it gets really interesting. The real wealth gap in India is not between people with high incomes and low incomes. It's between people who direct their money towards assets versus people who direct their money towards appearances. And a car, every single car you will ever buy is an appearance. It is never an asset. The sooner you make peace with that, the freer you become. So, to summarize what we covered today, the Indian car loan market in 2026 is at 2.5 lakh crore rupees and growing. Banks are competing for your loan business. Rates are starting from 7.40% at PSU banks, but private bank rates are 8.50 to 8.95%. A car loses 20 to 30% of its value in year one alone. Your real cost of ownership over 5 years includes that depreciation, and it's a lot more than your EMI suggests. Leasing is a growing option, especially for salaried professionals with employer-structured plans, but isn't widely accessible yet for individual buyers. The smartest moves in 2026 are: fix your budget before entering the showroom, maximize your down payment, compare lenders aggressively, don't stretch your tenure beyond 5 years, and seriously consider a well-maintained used car. And most importantly, separate your need for transport from your desire for status. Make that separation explicit, and then make the financial decision from the right place. If you found this video useful, drop a comment below with the car you're currently considering and your budget. I'll try to respond to as many as I can. And if you want a deep dive video specifically on used car financing or how to negotiate a car loan rate with your bank, let me know in the comments. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. I post every week on the stuff your school never taught you about money. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you in the next one.